Gather around, Skull brothers and sisters. This is Minnesota Sports Talk, presenting Under the Lights with your hosts, Justin and Dave, next in 3, 2, 1. Gather around, Skull brothers and sisters. This is Under the Lights, brought to you by Minnesota Sports Talk. I'm your host, D Nutty, a.k.a. D Shizzy, a.k.a. the Purple Hulk, and I got a guy who scored a 7 PFF grade on pass blocking, and that's Justin Day right here. Skull Vikings, let's go, let's go.
I didn't know it was that high. I got to 7.
Yeah, 7 on pass blocking, but he's a hell of a dog in the trenches and run blocking. All right. Murray Fist, chicken soup for my soul. Davey Chains, any guy named Dave is good with me. Let's go. My worthless opinion, where half of them aren't so worthless. Let's go. Let's go.
Greatest Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok handle of all time. See, I got to give a shout to that guy every single time. Good evening, everybody. Good evening to you as well. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. We're going to have a special guest. My compatriot, Mike Castellino, is going to join us here shortly, unless I sent him the wrong link because he said he's in and I don't see him already. So we're off to a riveting start, but I swore I sent him.
In this situation, I blame the Canadian. I always blame the Canadian.
Yeah, we'll figure it out here. But we're just 9 days away from the draft. Just 9 more days, 9 more sleeps to finally get to be done talking about, well, should the Vikings do this or should the Vikings do that? What's up, Dan? Shout out, Dan. Thanks for coming. Appreciate you, man. Hit them like buttons on the way in. We'll use
let's set a record of likes today.
Yeah, we don't charge admission. The only thing you got to do is hit that like button on your way in. There you go.
And put both our channels on and hit one of them on mute.
Yes,
and just like both of them. Let's do it.
So yeah, if you're watching on,
look at this.
If you're watching on a laptop, just open up a new tab and go to the other channel, hit like.
Here's my favorite Italian Canadian.
There you go. And Mr. King.
Are you Canadian?
Vikings
are you
Twitter
Italian?
Speaking.
Yeah.
Okay,
King
I figured.
Vikings Twitter Spaces. Mike Castellino, how are you tonight, my friend?
I'm good, guys. Sorry, nice to see you again, Dave. It's been a while.
I forgot who you were. I mean, I put you in like, I don't know, Canadian reserve mind, like in the deep corner of my cerebrum, wherever that is on my head. No, man, I was gonna ask Justin. Like, we didn't have a guest, so I was gonna ask him, but I forgot to say something. But yeah, I saw you guys were doing content together apparently. So I'm glad you're back on, man.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Absolutely. What's up, Dylan? Dylan in the building. Thank you kindly for joining us. Let's just get right to it. After seeing the mock draft by the Draft Network, I'm completely done looking at mocks. I am ready for the NFL draft. Let's go, Skull gentlemen. I'm assuming that is the mock that had us trading up to the number 3 pick, only to take Will Levis. Is that the one you're talking about, Dylan? Let me know yes or no. I'm pretty sure that's the one, isn't it?
So I think that's our cue to do a mock draft.
Yeah.
We know how to pull that up. I'm not good at this.
Oh, I'm terrible at mock draft. Last night.
No, I'm great at mock drafts, man. I got 2 A's and an A+ last week on air.
Is that right? No,
PFF.
I wish I had saved. I'll have to go back and just screenshot it. But so the first one we didn't do any trades. And what did we do? We traded back at 23, right? Or did we?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And who do we?
No, wait. No. I think we just stick the pick that we took Zay Flowers, right?
That's right. We took Zay Flowers, and I forget the rest of the picks after that. But the second one we traded up to the 3rd pick, and we managed to get the 3rd pick without giving up the 23. So we gave up this year's first, the 25th first, and Danielle Hunter, and apparently that was enough. Clearly realistic, because if you could somehow take a couple of future first-round picks and Danielle Hunter and not give up the 23, yeah, I'm guessing that's just probably not going to happen. But ultimately, we took Bryce Young there, did some other trade backs. I'll have to see if I can.
We traded Kirk. Okay, I can't leave that out with Dave here. I have to say it.
We traded Kirk and we traded Dalvin Cook, but that was not my idea. That was you guys. It's just for the record.
Only in Canada.
Oh yeah. Okay, you didn't play any role in that.
Only in Canada. Only in Canada could that happen.
I
didn't
resist. I didn't resist. I said, well, all right, if you guys want to, I suppose we can. Yeah, but in all seriousness, I'll see if I can't find that website. Log in.
Am I echoing, guys? I don't hear anything. I'm worried it's me. I hope it's not me.
A little bit. So we'll figure it out. Let me get some shout outs while we're doing that. Julian's in the house. Thanks, Julian, for joining us. Appreciate you, man. We already got Dylan. We got Davey Change. And, of course, which one are we going with? Are we going with MLK or are we going with Malcolm X tonight?
So the purple MLK, MC Rap, bringing all the fans together. There, I said it. I think, he said there was a bad echo, but I don't hear it anymore.
All right, so well, he said
the Canadian figured it out.
That's because Mike is muted. Hold on. Mike, let me unmute you.
Muted? That's why?
Yeah, hold on. Oh, you have to do it, Mike. It won't let me do it. You undo it now.
I did it because that's what we used to do with me and you and Kyla. Do you want me to leave and come back, see if it works better?
We'll try it for now. Yeah, there it is.
It's when we talk.
It's when we talk to you. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Why don't you try it?
I'll come back. See if it does anything.
Production value. Last minute decision to bring the Canadian on. It screws up everything.
There you go. Well, with all that said, I'm assuming that Dylan was talking about that ridiculous mock where we traded up to 3, traded 3 first-round picks, our third-round pick, and Danielle Hunter.
And we didn't even take Anthony Richardson on.
No, Anthony Richardson went for it to the Colts. So let's just put it out there. Put it in the chat. If we traded up to the 3rd pick, like Rapp and me and everybody else who wants to get a quarterback this season, and we ended up getting up there, but then took Will Levis, put it in the chat. Yes, you would like that idea. Or H for hell no, I would not like that idea for taking Will Levis at the number 3 pick. Mike, we'll start with you as the resident guest here. If we traded up to 3 for Will Levis, your thoughts?
No. And I've said this before. It's the same idea with him and Anthony Richardson. I've said this to you yesterday. I do not want to give up a crazy amount of assets for either of those guys. I have them graded very similarly. Where they fall to us, great, do it. I'm not giving up the farm for either of those guys. Absolutely not.
Let's talk about a potentially more realistic thing that would happen. And that was Adam Schefter has said that he thinks that nobody's taking a QB at 3 or 2 or 3, and that CJ Stroud would be there for Indianapolis, which would mean Will Levis would if Seattle picks at 5, that means he's available there for the 6 at Lions, and you could trade up to 6 to get the 3rd quarterback taken off the draft. Adam Schefter he made a bet on live television saying that.
Are you asking me? Like if I would be I don't value
other guys, I'm just throwing it at both of you.
Yeah. I'll go first just because I already talked. Sorry, Justin, if I cut you off, but I'll make it quick. Now, like for me, I said this to Justin yesterday, but I'll tell you, Dave, because you may have not seen it, but the most I want to trade for a guy like Anthony Richardson or Will Levis is you swap ones and you throw in your 87th pick. That's it. Like if they fall to the teens, fine. I don't want to give up a lot for either of them. I really don't.
So we would give up an 87th and we wouldn't pick until the 4th round is what you're saying.
That's the only way. If you're going to do it, I know it's not ideal. That's why I like the idea of giving up more in ones. And then you have the rest of your draft class. And if you hit on your guy, you don't care about not having ones for the next 2 years. But that's just me.
And it's been my opinion that we aren't trading up. And I don't even think if it got down into the teens, I'm not positive we're trading up. And I'm not in love with Will Levis. And they started looking at guys later in the draft, like Hendon Hooker and the guy from Stanford,
Tanner McKee. We had fun with that yesterday, didn't we, Justin?
Thank you.
Now, someone made a good point about McKee, and I haven't looked at him yet. I got a list of 10 quarterbacks. I got to go look at some film, and NFL put, he has them in the top 10. He has them ahead of they have him ahead of DTR. Is that, hey, this guy was recruited by everybody. Like he got Alabama and all these, top offers, and he went to Stanford, which had a shitty offense. Now, what would he have been like and apparently he's in. I think this is from Thor Nystrom, right? He
Yep.
lives and breathes it, and he says that, like, his athletic score per size was actually very good. But he had played in an offense where he just says you got to stand there and throw the ball. I don't know what Thor was bringing that up, but what would he have been like in a different offense? I'm not selling him. I'm just saying, hey, it was a good point.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, but we can say that about a lot of players. I mean, I've said if Kirk was on 2019 San Francisco, they'd get to the Super Bowl just like they did with Garoppolo. Do we know for certain that that's true? No. Do we know if he would have beaten Patrick Mahomes? Maybe, maybe not. But it was a good point, yes. And, we're referring to Thor Nystrom, who was on Purple Daily today on Score North, that he made that point, that he got recruited from Texas, from Alabama, from Tennessee. Okay, you put that guy on Tennessee, and maybe he does what Hendon Hooker does, and then we're talking about him the way we're talking about the other quarterbacks. It's an interesting point. There's still no way, even if he is spot on, there's still no way I'm taking him with the 23rd pick. Now,
who's saying that though? He's talking about
there are people. No, there are people who have mocked us and said the Vikings are potentially taking him at 20. Could take him at 23. And I'm just saying. Sorry,
I hadn't seen that. I've seen Hendon Hooker, but I hadn't seen.
Yeah, well, I'm out on anybody not named the Big Four at 23. Hendon Hooker, if you could get back into the second round, fine. The Stanford guy we're talking about, if you got him later, like in the same areas where you could get DTR, okay, I'm listening at that point. But to the point of taking him in the first round, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But you're right. Thor had a good point, whereas, he made the decision for his education to say, I'm going to go to Stanford and play football here. And maybe that wasn't the best football decision to get him drafted higher. I don't know. But I'm always leery of the, we can imagine what it might have been in different circumstances, but, you have to take it with a grain of salt one way or the other. Real quick, let me get some shouts in here because we got a few people up in the chat that I haven't mentioned yet here. We got K Figs, who said H for the hell no to the question about trading up to 3 for Will Levis, but thank you kindly for joining. Hit them like buttons on the way in if you hadn't already. Juke just said, hey, Dave, Justin, Mike, how you doing? We're doing good. Thanks again for joining. David Chain said, no, I trade up to get both Tyree Wilson and Drew Sanders. Raymond's in the building. Thank you, Raymond, for joining, as always. He said, yes, that's giving up way too much. I want to mock Bob is in the house. Thank you kindly, as always, for joining us as well. And I'll just throw this last comment up here. So I'm kind of outside the top 4. I'd rather draft Holton Hollers in later rounds 5 or 6. Okay, I get what you're saying there. But no, I'm out on the guy in the first round. There's only 3 guys I want in the first round. Maybe Will Levis, if it's, like I said.
Isn't Hendon Hooker better than Will Levis, though?
If he wasn't injured. But it's the same argument about, like, should the Vikings have kept Sam Bradford versus signing Kirk Cousins? You could make the argument if Sam Bradford didn't have degenerate knees that he might have been a better quarterback for the Vikings than Kirk, but he has degenerative knees, and one of Kirk's
strengths. Hendon Hooker has a degenerative knee?
No, I'm just using the analogy to say right now he's coming off an ACL injury and has been stated by East Coast Gridiron on a couple different occasions with us. He doesn't just have a knee brace. He has a full leg brace, which means he's not going to be ready for 2024 more than likely. So
that was at the NFL Combine.
Yeah.
Not the Senior Bowl. That was at the Senior Bowl.
Either way, I'm saying right now for me, Hendon Hooker.
He's not playing this year. If you draft him, he's not playing this year.
I agree, which means he's not getting on the field to be able to take backup reps or mental reps and get everything out of your redshirt freshman year.
But you agree that he's a better quarterback than Will Levis.
He would be if he was not injured. I would like him more. Yes.
So just the thought process there, you take the inferior quarterback because of the injury.
No, I'm saying I don't want to take.
Well, I don't want to take Will Levis.
I'm sorry. I get what you're saying now. What I'm saying is that I will take Hendon Hooker in the second round because at that point, the injury risk is not costing me as much draft value.
Are you trading down into the second, or are you trading up into the second from 3? Because that's a huge jump.
I don't know. I'm at this point where I'm not really considering all these other options because I'm so dead set on getting one of the top 3 anyway. But go ahead, Mike.
Could I add just something too on Hendon Hooker? I get what you're saying, Justin, to an extent, but like then he's on a 3-year deal. It's even worse. And not that I want Hendon Hooker. And honestly, Dave, I actually view Levis higher than Hooker. I think Levis has an extremely high ceiling, but yes, he's got his own issues. Like I said, it's Stroud and Young, and then it's a bunch of question marks from there, in my personal opinion. But I like Will Levis. I think a lot of people are they're sleeping on him because his team got a lot worse. Like everyone wants to say where Anthony Richardson played with bad weapons. Fine, that may be true. No disagreement on that. Well, Will Levis lost his best receiver, Wandale Robinson, the year before to the Giants. And then he lost his starting center, Luke Faulkner, to the Jaguars. Nobody talks about that. I don't know why. And I get he's got question marks, just like Anthony Richardson. They may both flop, right? It's very possible, or one's really good and one's really bad. I get that. But for me, I think Will Levis is a better player than Hendon Hooker because there's a lot of question marks there. Like that offense he played in, from what I've heard, was so easy. It was one read and go. And there's something to be said about that, too.
All I'm saying to answer your question, Dave, is I think Will Levis is like the safest play. I think Will Levis has the highest floor and the lowest ceiling when we're talking about, him versus Hendon Hooker versus DTR, that sort of thing. And I kind of, if I'm going to do all of this monkeying around and moving around for a guy that I want to be ours for the next 10 years, I want the guy with the highest upside. And all I'm saying is to Mike, who articulated it far better than I was trying to do, is if you take Hendon Hooker, he's definitely not playing in 2023. We all agree to that. But I don't even think he would be ready to take. Yeah, but I don't think he would be ready to take. Hooker would be ready to take over in 2024.
But
that's where I was going with it. Is like that's why I'm kind of out at him at 23. That I would want to recoup some additional draft value.
Justin also made a tremendous point too, Dave. At least in my opinion, with what Hendon Hooker will not do for your year one, that Will Levis will. He'll get reps. He'll play for you. He'll get the seasoning. He'll play in the preseason. He'll learn the offense. Like, there's nothing like game reps. There's nothing that can replicate playing against grown men from the college level. Like, Hendon Hooker, I think he was a guy I liked, and I still like, but not – like, I don't understand how he went from a third-round prospect to, like, a first-round guy now. I just don't get it. There's so many question marks. Like, it's not for me. Just not for me. I hope he has a great career.
I don't think there's anybody in the screen that's saying first round.
No. But
this is the thing. Where are we going to get him then?
Levis. That's all I was saying.
Oh, I mean, like I said, do you trade down and take him in the second round, or you trade up to get him in the second round? Both are possible because if you trade down in the second round, you probably accumulated at least one other third round pick to make that possible. And if you traded down far enough or twice to get into the second round, then you probably got a couple of, a third, another second day or another, third day, fourth round pick, something, or future picks, whatever. Plus you also got the future picks. If you like Hendon Hooker that much, if that's the thing, then you got the extra picks to make that happen. What if it's brought up, he could fall to Thor Nordstrom has him as a third rounder. I mean, do we have him a third rounder? Could he be? Yeah, it's possible. That need would scare somebody. And this, the fact that he's, going to be 26.
Yes, he'll be 26 by the time he plays. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and you're talking about, I think you brought up the fifth year and you're saying you would have 3 because this first year would be a problem. Right. So, I mean, my question there is, if a player's hurt, how does that work? Because you're supposed to your contract tolls.
Not if you're a rookie. I don't think it tolls if you're a rookie. I could be wrong.
Not rookies. Yeah.
No, because it's already well known. Like a veteran, I think is when it happens.
Yes.
But not if you're a rookie draft pick and it's known that you were injured. I don't think so.
That is correct.
Yeah. So we see quarterbacks. We saw one just get the most money ever. He was on a 4-year deal. That 5th year is basically, a $30 million 1-year contract almost nowadays, because you're going to get like high 20s, I think right now. 20. It's like what Kirk got when his last year at Washington was like 27 million because he got a bump because it was a second year.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think the first year was 23. So now that money has actually gone up thanks to these guys signing these crazy ass contracts. That 5th year is a $30 million year anyways. that you're going to be extending him by then anyways, if he's good enough, right? So I'm not too sold on that that 5th year being a big deal anymore because it is such a huge contract anyways.
It's a good point. To where I said earlier, I'd really worry about taking a guy who's 26 years old to be a guy that like Brandon Whedon was 28. I remember that experience for Cleveland and how that went. Like I don't want to be in that business. I'm not comparing the two players, but that's the first thing that comes to mind with that when I see his age. Like that's terrifying for me personally. And there's another thing about Hendon Hooker. Quessie's drafted every single player he drafted last season was 23 or younger when they were drafted. I just don't see how it happens. I'd be shocked. I really would.
He's not signing any free agents that are above the age.
Exactly. He's signing free agents his age.
Right. Exactly. Let me get some shouts in here. I put it up there that Davey Chain said that he would be happy with ETR. Shout out to Sarah. Thanks for joining. I don't like any of the quarterbacks. Followed up with, and I don't like Kirk, but Ching. In the Zone podcast. Thanks for joining us.
You're screwed, Sarah. This year anyways. Then.
Yes, exactly. J Money and D Nutty. Okay.
There you go, D Nutty. I put it up there for you, Zone.
All right. Well, I guess I got to change mine there too. But let's see. What film you watch on Levis? I'm not sure if you mean that you like him or that you hate him. Let's see here.
He's not. I don't think he's a big fan of Levis.
Yeah, I remember right. I was joking. Look at his rushing yards and his X. Okay, let's see.
Well, can I push back for a second?
Real quick. Let me finish these.
I'll be real. Oh, okay. Go ahead.
A guy who can't make good decisions on coffee can't be trusted with this. I think it was a joke, Sarah. But what do I know? Go ahead, Mike.
Like, I want to pick my words here carefully. I don't want to trigger anyone, but like. This ability of running quarterbacks, I think it's a bit overrated. The greatest quarterbacks to ever play weren't great runners. Like Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, John Elway, Joe Montana. Like now we want to have runners like crazy. Like, Marino, that's another good one. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's not a nice thing. Patrick Mahomes is a runner, right? A little bit. The difference with Patrick Mahomes, he runs to throw. There's a difference. I don't want a guy who runs for 700, 800 yards. I don't, personally.
Right.
I mean, I often compare Mahomes to Rodgers. They look like the same player to me. I think one has a better coach, a better offensive mind behind him, and they won 2 Super Bowls instead of 1 in Rodgers' case. But yeah, I think they improvise. And I actually today just compared Bryce Young to be a short Patrick Mahomes. Because that's what he reminded me of. Just ducking, not doing that extra. He gets out, then looks upfield really quick and then makes the play off script. He looks really good, and I can now see because I was totally not paying attention to him. But then I got the draft coming up next week, and we're gonna do a live thing. I'm like, well, I better at least watch him one time. I did watch him his first. I did watch. I haven't watched him, and so I finally did. And I'm like, God, you know what? He looks like a 5'10" Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. So just the way he plays, but I was gonna say Russell Wilson, but honestly, I think he's more Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Let me get some more comments up here. Look at the list of quarterbacks picked 20 to 30 the last few years. None have been franchise quarterbacks. That's always true.
Yep. Lamar, except Lamar. Lamar's the only one.
Right, you're right.
32, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we wanted Mike Hughes. But I digress. Skull Mafia's in the building. Thank you kindly for joining me. Quick comment here from my Worthless. I get too much of a Jay Cutler, Jeff George vibe from Levis. Yeah, I can. I'm not
gonna lie. Sorry if I cut you off. Just excuse. I don't want to be doing that. Sorry if I did that.
Don't worry. On this
show,
if
we had a Jay Cutler on a rookie deal, like if that's his, like if he's Jay Cutler on his rookie deal, you could go really far. Like I'm not even trying to be funny. A lot of people like sleep on Jay Cutler. Yes, he was lazy. His work ethic wasn't great. He was a very talented passer.
Oh, absolutely.
A very talented passer.
He's another in a long list of guys who on rookie contracts you like, but once you get to market value, do they bring enough to
Went to the Super Bowl.
Did Cutler NFC title game, right?
Wasn't that
I don't think he went to. It was NFC title game with the Bears.
Was the NFC title game?
Yeah. Yes, with the Bears. He lost to Green Bay, right? Justin?
I thought he went to the. Oh man, sorry. I thought where he quit at halftime.
Yes,
I thought that was the Super Bowl. That was
the championship.
That's where
I
tell you.
It might as well have been our Super Bowl because it's Green Bay going to the Super Bowl. We want them to lose every time.
Yes,
I swear to God that was my bad.
Hey, I'd take an NFC title game. Kirk hasn't done that.
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
well, you said it, not me. Super Will, what's going on? Appreciate you, man. Good to see you. It's been a minute. Thanks for stopping by. Dr. Proto, you're not late. You're right on time. Just hit the like buttons on your way in, like I said, everybody else. But thank you so much for joining us. And you know what? We'll probably be here for a while anyway. So it don't matter what time you get here. Thanks for stopping by regardless. We appreciate you as well. Let's see. Who else have I missed in? Oh, there's one from Dylan. Let me get this up here. What I'm starting to see from Vikings fans, including myself, are really setting themselves up for major disappointment after the first three quarterbacks.
He's right. He's right.
Which means we're doing exactly what Vikings fans do. We set ourselves up for disappointment. Pie chart of disappointment was the segment I went with. Dave will remember that one quite well. Thank you, Dan, for bringing this back to our attention. Tolling happens at the end of the rookie last year, the rookie deal.
Yeah,
right? Because somebody
against the Packers. Huh? Yeah, Jay Cutler against the Packers in the title game.
Apparently didn't believe it.
He didn't play well in that game, though.
Hey, what's up, Zach? Good to see you, man. Legends, we appreciate it. I don't know if we're worthy of that comment yet, but we appreciate you joining us tonight. Good to see you. Good to see you. Thank you, Dan. Teddy was talked about with tolling. That's right. Trade our first for a second and an additional third out. David Chain's talking about trading down. Yeah, I could see that. Listen, I would love for them.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Let's go back to that. You were talking about Hendon Hooker. I would love for them to, if they could move back 3 to 6 spots to maybe 29 somewhere in there and pick up some additional capital, and then take a player, and then trade back up in the second round to get Hendon Hooker, so that we got 2 picks out of the first round. Or if you got to trade back twice, that's fine too. I'm just saying taking Hendon Hooker at 23 does not maximize the value of that pick. So if we got him in the second round because we did some trades and got some additional capital, I'm totally fine with that. I'm just not fine with taking him at 23. I guess
I'm not either.
I know I'm probably. Oh, sorry. I know I'm probably alone on this.
Mike, let me say
you lead the league in apologies, man.
Yeah,
I know. Mike, I don't want to. I hate cutting. Justin knows I hate cutting people off. It's the last thing I want to do.
Have you not watched me and Dave on a Tuesday
I know,
night?
but I don't like doing that. It's not in my being.
I don't like
hard
it either, but it just is what it is. Don't worry about it, man. We're not going to kick you out. So just say what you got to say, man. Go ahead.
It's just with Hendon Hooker, to me, if you trade down right to the second round and you get a third, I just love the idea of going and building up the other positions in need. If you don't get you said it yourself, right? You don't get one of those top 4. To me, it's not really intriguing. Like, it's just not to me. I just, if you're going to get a quarterback, you do it big or you don't do it. That's the way I look at it. And like, if you did trade it, you can get Drew Sanders from Arkansas and then go and get maybe Butte at LSU. And then you're good at linebacker and wideout. And then you still have your 4th pick and more. Like, that's just the way I look at it. Because then you could take a quarterback. If I'm not the biggest DTR guy, I'd have to watch some more now about him. But if they wanted to do that in the 4th round, I'd be a lot more in on that.
He is a good kid, man. As and I think he's a student of the game, and I think he's athletically gifted. I just don't. From what I hear from higher analytical stats, like throwing downfield is not his thing, and that's just kind of a. I don't. Bridgewater wasn't very good at throwing down the field, so I worry a little bit about that. But if that kid gets free, he could be gone. He's like 4-5 guy.
No,
he could be gone. So,
what's up, Dave? Thanks for joining us, man. I appreciate you.
But my thought process is, if we did, in my thoughts, if we are able to trade down and get a top end, a really good wide receiver or a real good defensive player, because I got a couple options later that I like that could be one, that could give us both the receiver and the top defensive guy that I want. I think if we trade down and we accumulate those picks, if we have an extra third and one of those guys is there, or we have an extra 4th and like a DTR is there, I don't see why not throwing a cheap flyer at a guy with some athletic ability, or a Hendon Hooker in the 3rd, or even though McKee, giving that guy a flyer because he did play for a shit team. If Will Levis's excuse he played for a shit team, why can't we give one to the Stanford guy, right? So we'll give him a pass and pick him in the later rounds. But yeah, I don't think we're gonna have. I don't think this is the year we have 8 quarterbacks going the first 2 rounds.
No,
I think last year was crazy, because nobody went except for one.
Pickett, literally
then,
Kenny Pickett. Yeah.
Yeah, except for one, and then everybody else was like even later. Where'd Ritter go?
Ritter went to Atlanta third round. Yeah.
Was it third round? Yeah, that's right.
Third round. Him and Willis went shortly after each other, but I remember laughing because Ritter would have had a Willis, which like no one had.
I was going, holy shit, draft Ritter. I was like,
I was going draft Willis. Anyway.
I was a Ritter guy. I'm a Ritter guy. At least I was.
I hated that class except Pickett, so we're all different.
What's up, Dave? I know I said hello. Thanks for joining us, brother. I appreciate you. G-Mac is in the house and Angel's in the house. Thanks, everybody. Cheers, Purple Family. Cheers as well. I'm sorry to the fact that I'm having such a good conversation that I'm still slacking a little bit. I'm still getting used to getting back to all of these chats in here. But, yes, I'm trying to get them up there as fast as I can. So nobody's ignoring anybody there. What's up, Skull Mafia? I love you, brother. You know that. I'm waiting for the Zimmer comment at some point. That's too evil. You know, too evil. Yeah, too evil usually gets in about 45 minutes in. All right, so I got to expect that a little later. So all right, we got a little bit of that there. Yeah, his number's better than Levis and Richardson. Yeah, okay, well, I'm at this point I'm kind of talked out about it because I really just wish we would. I wish we knew right now. I wish we knew. No, the Vikings are not going to trade up to 3. If somebody falls into the early to mid-teens, they might be interested. But I still have this sense that there's a part of them that wants to. But maybe that's just my my field of dreams. Doctor's got a point. Throwing downfield is kind of a big deal when you have JJ. Well, it's
it's not like he doesn't have a bad arm. It's just that that's not what he did, and that's what I thought about Jalen Hurts. That's what I thought about Hurts, but now I don't, right? But hey, there's a guy that, I think would put fear into defenses, and I thought Quentin Johnson. Is there any chance he comes? Would you stick and pick any of these receivers at 23? Like a Zay Flowers, Najigba, Quentin Johnson.
Oh, if
Jigba, yes, get jiggy with it. Get jiggy with it. Yeah.
I don't think he's coming down.
He's not going to be there.
But I looked at Quentin Johnson the other week because we did offensive players last week on my Skull World Live. And 2 receivers we talked about that I really stood out to me was Quentin Johnson and a kid from Maryland. Or no, Wake Forest, A.T. Perry.
A.T.,
yeah. It was Wake Forest, A.T. Perry. And those are the 2 tall guys that get open. And that's why I was saying, like, get my receiver, my defensive guys, like, hey, get that Quentin Johnson in the first round, or getting a third rounder, or if I don't get the receiver there, to get an A.T. Perry later, because I feel like it's like they're close to me. That's the way I kind of felt, but one seems to be looked at later than the other. But hey, there's only 2 tall receivers in this.
Yeah, there's a lot of short receivers in this. Well, I'll say this. If Jiggy is there at 23, which he won't be, you don't think?
Yes, run in the card. Run it in.
What about Zay Flowers?
Zay Flowers.
I'd still run it in.
I don't know that I'd run it in, but I'd be very, very happy to get Zay Flowers. Johnston, he fits kind of what you need in the red zone, like a jump ball guy, but he's kind of slow. And I get it. He's the big, tall, physical guy. And is that the best? Johnston.
He's not that slow.
Huh? Was he 4'6"?
Please don't tell me he ran the same 40 as Laquan Treadwell. Please don't tell me that.
Let me pull him up.
Yeah, pull him up. I thought he was like a 4'6".
I think it's he didn't run it at the combine. I'll have to look it up.
Well,
but he has a vertical leap of 40 and a half and a broad jump 11.2. So my guess, well, here's the deal with him. I think it was the fact that he maybe doesn't get off the ball fast enough, but this guy's got long speed. But he's big enough that I think he could get releases. That's the thing. You have to play this guy bump and run, because if you watch him play, he's blowing by people once he gets into the secondary. But there's a lot of fast guys in there. You know who they got number 1 in the NFC or the NFL tracker? Jalen Hyatt.
Well, wow. Reading your mind. Wow. I wouldn't mind Jalen Hyatt either. I think 23 is a little high for him.
Yeah.
But they got him number 1.
Well,
yeah, they graded him number 1. And then Zay Flowers, Josh Downs, then
Okay.
Jackson Smith and Jigba, then Quentin Johnson, Cedric Tillman.
If the draft wants to play out like that, I'm good with that. I wouldn't have a problem with that.
There's another guy, Oklahoma, Marvin Mims. I thought would be if he got him in like a late, end of the second day. I would like, hey, that's not bad. It's a pretty good player.
There you go, Mike. Two Evil the Hopes in the building. We knew he'd show up.
There it is. I knew it. Like I said,
just mentioned him 3 minutes ago.
Spoken it into existence.
He heard us.
He must have had some rabbit ears. Be like, oh wait, it's Tuesday night and the boys are talking about me.
I hope Zimmer's at the draft party.
Yeah,
let's hope so.
Zimmer will be at the draft party having beers with cousins. So there you go. Sanders.
Oh yeah.
Thank you, Mary. That's a good one.
He must have said his name 3 times. That's why he appeared.
Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll take it. Listen, I'm starting to come around to your thought process, Dave, of Naylor.
Let me snip this.
Yeah, snip the clip.
Clip. It's clip.
There you go.
What about Jalen Naylor? That's my favorite subject. Go ahead.
Yes, I thought it might be. In all seriousness, I'm starting to come around to, as much as we would all love the sexy pick of wide receiver to go with KJ and JJ and whatnot. Maybe it would be better suited to be used in other areas, like at defensive line, like at linebacker, at corner, if one of the decent corners is still there. I don't want to be pigeonholed into just strictly taking one position or another, but I've actually had some time to sit and think about, all right, you know what? Maybe this isn't the time to draft a wide receiver, unless, like I said, if Jiggy's there, then I don't think. But I would be happy with pretty much any one of those guys. I really would. They all bring something that would very, very much elevate this offense theoretically here.
You know what really bothers me, Justin and Dave? Had the Vikings just drafted a receiver last year in a better class, they could have taken a guy like Brian Branch now. And then they would be fine at safety either way. Like the thing that's most frustrating. Pardon?
Naylor.
I like Naylor. Justin knows that. I like Naylor.
He's legit.
But that is such a big task to take on. Like, no respect to him or KJ. To force one of those guys into the wide receiver 2 role, that scares me a lot.
Jalen Naylor in this draft class would be late second.
If he stayed healthy, maybe, but that was the reason he felt the injury history.
Healthy, last year I said he was probably probably a 3rd round talent, but he didn't stay healthy. And this draft, he would have been late second, easy.
Well, to that point, Mike, you know me. We were talking.
It was a broken hand, right? It was a broken hand.
Yeah,
that's what kept him on his senior year.
We had just finished our first season together on the Old Canadian page, and what did I say? I said, if Chris Olave is there, you take
our
him.
guy.
I don't care. And he went 1 pick.
And of course, he's a Saint now too. Just to make it even more worse.
All right, I'm sorry, Doctor. I ain't getting into that one, but there's some nice conversation about sitting down with Mike Zimmer for drinks and what type of alcohol he would consume. And then there was one I didn't read before I put it out there. But
Zimmer's got to be a guy that drinks whiskey, right? Surely,
I would think so. Whiskey or wine. Trading Hunter, Cook, and Cousins this draft would be great. Well, Cousins ain't going to happen unless the only way, and it's a less than 1% chance. The only way you would trade Cousins is if somehow, some way you got up to 3. And you got either Bryce Young or CJ Stroud.
Yep.
That's the only scenario that I can think of.
And you do it. If that happens, you do it, by the way. You do it. Find a way. If it happens, I trade Cousins. I wouldn't hesitate.
Dave?
Trade Cousins?
If you got CJ Stroud or Bryce Young, would you trade Cousins or would you let them sit for a year?
You'd probably have to.
Okay.
Yeah, I would think because those are the 2 guys everybody thinks will start right away.
Yeah. All right, fair enough. What's up, Mike Sports Vibes? Thanks for joining. Appreciate you, man.
But hey, would they benefit? I would think they would. I think they would benefit sitting a year. I mean, obviously, there is precedent that sitting a year doesn't hurt you. So
no, that's true.
No, it's not a question. Dave, it was. Excuse me, I'm gonna put it back up there. No, it wasn't really a question. It was more me trying to get under Dave's skin about the idea of trading Cousins because.
Oh, speaking which, I was just wondering. I heard you guys talking about Danielle Hunter.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
What's his cap hit this year?
So his cap hit is 13.5. 4.9 is salary.
Yeah.
And if you trade or cut him, it would be 18 million dead. So if you get rid of Danielle Hunter, you have to carve out $5 more million
Yes.
of cap space that's going to go for nothing. So I guess I'll anticipate your question is, if Danielle Hunter could be part of a trade package that nets you a humongous trade package to get up for a quarterback or a future first-round pick, I would do it, and I would figure out a way to absorb the money. But I'm not looking to trade him for pennies on the dollar, knowing that right now he's on the books for 13 and he'd be on the books for 18. Was that what your question was going to be? I'm sorry, I just kept rolling.
What's his salary this year?
His salary is 4.9 million.
He won't. That's literally what he's playing for. Yeah.
And you weren't part of this, Michael. But
yeah, I know where he's.
So his salary's 5, but
okay.
but his cap hit 16.
His cap hit is
13. So I thought the cap hit was the salary, because that's the argument we had 2 weeks ago when I said
no. That's not what we're talking about.
You know, we had that argument, and I said I said Kirk Cousins' average salary is $35 million, and you said no, it wasn't.
Okay. What's your question about Danielle? His cap hit this year is 13.5 right now.
Because you were talking about that, and you weren't saying, $5 million. He's taking $5 million home, and the whole thing about I wouldn't play for only $5 million, and then but when it was with Cousins, it was like no, he's 49 million. Like his average is 49 million. You kept telling me 2 weeks ago.
I never said anything to the contrary for Danielle Hunter. You asked me how much his salary cap it was.
It only matters if it's Kirk Cousins.
No, Danielle Hunter, if
his cap is 20 million actually this year. His average salary is 36. The argument I brought up last 2 weeks ago that Kirk Cousins wasn't in the top 10 in average salary. Just that was the list. Average salary, PFF put it out there. Average salary. He wasn't on the top 10, but I don't know. He was trying to tell me that he made more than that average salary, and I was like, no, he's never made more than 30. His highest contract has been 35 million, and that was this extension that he's on right now. So yeah, I didn't get it. Why? Yeah, I just thought I'd bring that up since
because Danielle Hunter is not talked about in the context of highest pass rushers.
He's not Kirk Cousins.
Well, he also got screwed over on like Cousins, who got his money. It's kind of different,
dude. It's the same. The fact that you're arguing that he was Kirk Cousins was
Danielle Hunter took team friendly deal after team friendly deal and so market value. There you go.
He took market value. Okay, got it. And he's not in the top 10, but he took market value. Got it.
Yeah, that's the other funny thing.
Dude, you brought up
his deals, and then now you're going to compare to all these other guys who have taken deals on top of his after inflation and want to say what a great value his is now. Well, obviously, when one guy signed a bunch of years ago and has done 1-year extensions.
Dude, he signed a 1-year extension a year ago. He signed a 1-year extension a year ago, and you're talking about inflation.
Yes, we are talking.
Dude, he wasn't in the top 10. And you tried to make it sound like he was making 45. He was signing for 45 or more $1 million a year, and he should have. You said he should have been two. You said he should have been number 2 on that list. You said he should be number 2 on that list.
Well, he was, wasn't he? Per capita, I thought he was.
This is the first year he's been outside of the top.
No, I'm
5.
talking about this year.
Yes,
outside of the top 10. And he's saying he should have been second on the list when he's never made more than $35 million. And I just don't want. And he says, well, he made $186 million in his career, 6-year career. And I'm like, well, that works out to about 31 million. So he's actually average over his career was 31 million. But I don't know. I just didn't get it. But it only matters if it's Kirk and not any other player. You were trying to tell me that it was the cap hit that mattered, and I was just saying that he wasn't in the top 10 in average salary. That's all I was saying.
Yeah, but he's going to also leave behind like
cap and not salary. But
he's also going to leave behind.
My point was you cannot blame a player for what a GM did.
Oh, that's correct. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, absolutely.
You cannot blame a player what a GM did. You can't blame.
Don't we always say that, Justin? Isn't that our go-to line?
We do, Mike.
Unless it's Kirk and he says he should have been second on that list because of his cap hit. That's what he said.
Dave.
But that has nothing to do with Anyway, I'm not going to.
Of average salary, and Kirk's not on the top 10. We don't
right, and you couldn't go there. You had to tell me that he was second on that list.
Top 10 of salary. Congratulations,
average salary.
Kirk's average salary right now.
It took you 2 weeks to admit it. That
yes.
I mean, his average salary is.
His salary
where's he going to be? What's his?
I just brought up a list. I just brought up a list for conversation,
and I brought up context around it.
And that was that his average salary should put him in the second on that list. I just didn't get it. I did the math for you. I just
hit a million times. Let's move on. We don't need.
Can I say
one thing? Average salary. When you get in a conversation, you put your own stipulations on it all the time. You put your own stipulations.
The more important stipulation for NFL players in a capped league is their salary cap.
Not 20 million. Salary. Got it. So he's a bargain then. 20 million.
No, but they were talking about a 23 million void year. We're not talking about or something like what?
Hold it.
Yeah. We can't ignore the void year. Come on, that's the biggest void year left in NFL history.
When you combine 2 years together. Oh, you gotta combine 2 years together.
Come on now, Dave.
No, dude.
Because Quincy pushed money.
I said you couldn't blame a player for what a GM did, except apparently if it's Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, but because of the way his contracts are structured, Quincy literally to make it work had to literally absorb the biggest void year ever. Like that's not really a good thing.
And so what does that have to do with Kirk Cousins' average salary?
No, good for him. He got his money. I don't think that's the discussion.
What does that matter to the average salary of the list, which was average salary?
Or you're talking about
it was a top 10 list of average salaries. He wasn't on it. That's all my point was, and it went off. It went off to cap hits and stuff that you can't blame a player for, except they kept bringing up cap hit.
You made your point. Kirk Cousins is absolved from the cap mess that Rick Spielman put us all into, and that Kwesi has to clean up.
Well, the thing is, I'm going to leave it on this.
From that.
Kirk would never take the contract though that he's actually he would if Kwesi offered him a 3-year extension, 23 million a year, fully geared, he wouldn't take it. We all can agree on that, I would imagine.
He wouldn't take 23 million a year.
No, that's what I'm saying though. That's where his cap hit is though, right? Like something like that. That's my point. So where he'd actually need to be would put him closer to what Justin said to an extent.
If we let him go, he'd be $28 million against the cap next year.
Yes. Yeah. He's in the last year of his contract. He will get charged 20 this year, and he'll get charged 28 next year. But his average is not 48. His average is 10.
Right. That is what? 10? Anyways.
Yes, 10 million is all he's making in salary, and he's only got 1 year left.
You were trying to tell me that his average salary was greater than that, even though the math didn't book it out.
Well, last time, Dave, because I'm moving on from this subject. For the last time. Fine.
Go ahead, man. Move on.
He makes $10 million in salary this year, the final year of his contract. Therefore, his average.
I wouldn't play on that.
Well, Kirk is because he's gotten all of his money up front.
Well, he's got it, right? It's in the escrow, or it's already waiting for him anyway.
But Daniil's only getting 5, and we're all cool about him not playing.
No, Daniil hasn't gotten anywhere near what Kirk
I'll stop. I'm going to stop. Yeah, because it's a hamster wheel.
Yeah, so $5 million, and he's I think Purple Daily said he was 40th on the pass rusher list. Like 40th highest.
Again, as far as getting back to Daniil, Daniil is in a tough spot because number one, he's taken team-friendly deals for however long. Part of it was because he wanted to get his upfront money early before his first contract was even completed yet. So he took that in 2018. And then unfortunately for him in 2020 and 2021, he only played 7 games because he had a bunch of injury issues. And so now he's only got $5 million in cash coming to him, but he still has all of the prorated signing bonuses, which is, as I said, about $18 million of signing bonus money that he's already received, but hasn't been charged to the Vikings cap yet.
Which was absolutely the point I made 2 weeks ago. When you signing bonus, you get that up front. That's part of your contract.
Yeah.
That's not a fully guaranteed deal, though. That's two completely like Daniil Hunter. I'm going to make this. I'm not going to go on and on.
There's other players that have signed contracts that had 3 years guaranteed.
No, I'm not criticizing Cousins, by the way. I'm good for him. He has a great agent. He got all his money. Good for him. But Daniil Hunter did us a solid, and he's getting screwed for. And I actually feel bad for the guy.
I remember that. Sorry, I had to throw that out one there. We need to get a draft capital Wilds vet. Yeah, no, I totally agree. I'm way behind on the comments now. There's a shock. I'm so tired. Yes, we're going to move on. Let's just move on to that. So bottom line is, what would you do, Dave? I'll start with you. What do you do with Danielle Hunter? Do you try to re-sign him? Do you give him what he asks, or do you try to trade him? What are your thoughts there?
I am 100% behind trading a player if we're going to misuse him anyways.
All right.
If we're not going to misuse him, then I think he's probably worth signing for 4 years tops. I don't know. Today's NFL, it's like 3. You know, you're signing him through the end of his prime. Would he do that? But if you're out of the 3 players, Zadarius Smith, Cook, and Danielle Hunter, Danielle's got the most value. So if Kwesi, I think, doing the right thing, would go look for trade partners. But what would be the least you'd? I mean, you that's how obviously cross your guys' minds too. What's the least you'd take for him?
A second.
So, yeah, I was going to say second. I mean, if it was a 3rd round pick and maybe a 3rd round pick next year as well. So maybe but if it's straight up just 1 pick, the absolute least I would take would be a second. I think you're going to see more realized value from Danielle Hunter if he's part of a trade package to move up, something like that.
Yeah.
But I also think that some very good points were made yesterday as well. And one that you just made. He was totally misused last year. I'd love to have Danielle Hunter around under Brian Flores, not dropping into pass coverage, having his hand in the dirt, and letting him get back to do what he does best. So that's the balancing act that they're gonna have to figure out. If they get off, I used this last night, I'll use it again. If somebody like Buffalo, who's got the 27th pick, offered you their 1st round pick for Danielle Hunter, all bets are off. You take it at that point. At least that's what do you two think? If Buffalo offered you 27, would you do it?
Yeah.
Dave.
If they offered us 27 for Danielle Hunter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you? Okay.
I mean, I think you'd have to.
You get if you're gonna be a 3-4 for the rest of the future, you can get somebody there. I think there's plenty of 3-4 edge rushers to go after.
I hope he's still here. I think he might have left already. I don't think we got off the subject quick enough here, but I know there was some more in here, but we're moving on from the conversation, so I'm not going to throw all of the back and forth at the on the previous topic, and I apologize for not keeping it up with there, but we got to throw wraps up there. This is Under the Lights. All right, moving on. I think there was actually one from Anthony here a moment ago. Oh, there it is. I put it up there. I don't think we could ever have enough pass rushers on this team, and there is some talent in the draft. That's a premium position. Would really like that Will McDonald kid from Iowa State. What do you guys know of who he's referring to? This McDonald guy by chance? And if
not really.
All right. Anthony, what round is he projected to go in? Is he looking to be a 1st or 2nd round pick, or is he a guy that we can pick up later? Let me know, because I'll be honest with you, I'm not East Coast Gridiron, so I don't have all of these players as much as I should. Yeah. All right.
MJ Anderson.
He said
McDonald.
Will McDonald. Will McDonald.
I thought I saw from when we were doing the mocks yesterday, Justin, he's supposed to be around a 2nd round pick, I think. From the mocks, but I don't have any idea.
Okay. I mean, I'll be honest with you. My draft knowledge is limited to the 1st or 2nd round because I just don't have time to break it all down as much. Let's see here. Once Kirk is gone, your episodes will be shorter by like 2 hours. Maybe not. I'm sure we'll fight. Well,
I've said I wish Kirk was never born, so I didn't have to actually talk about him because it's nauseating. But I
you brought him up for the record.
I don't forget shit.
Yeah,
and the fact that you went weird math on me 2 weeks ago, I had to bring it up.
Got to shout out Nick. Nick is in the building. Thanks kindly for joining us. I hope he's sticking around. All right.
You guys are like a classic Rocky film.
And then 2 weeks ago, I actually left an hour and a half into the show, and you kept going, and you didn't have control, so it had dead air. I had to
That's right. I forgot about that.
I couldn't work. I had to come back.
We have 11 million dead if Hunter trade him before. No, it's actually Andrew. It's actually 18.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's 18. I think it's 11. Let me go back over to Cap here real quick and see what trade pre-June 1st, dead cap hit 18 million.
Yeah.
Trade post June 1st, dead cap hit 7.6 this year, and
then 11, right?
But you can designate a guy, right? You can designate 2 guys for posts, and that would save you money.
I don't know if you can designate trades because I don't. Here's the question that was put on the table, and I don't know the answer to this. Like, let's say you traded Danielle Hunter tomorrow, but post June 1st.
Well, here's the deal. I don't think it can be a draft day trade to get the type of value we want because he's only got his last year of his contract.
If you throw him in a package, it might be different.
That's what I was saying. But to finish this, if you trade him post June 1st, it would be a 7.6 dead this year, and it would be an 11.2 dead next year. So that 18 million is hitting your books one way or the other. Well, if you split it off, you split it off. But I don't know. We'll see. Skull Mafia says he doesn't think that Hunter will play. Skull Mafia thinks he's gone. The doctor says absolutely recite him. I doubt Flo will misuse him. That's the point we were making earlier.
Yeah, this year though, right? But what happens when he becomes a head coach somewhere next year after he turns our defense around?
Well, Hunter, if you do it, it depends. It depends how you do it though. Like Justin knows this from yesterday. I don't want to go on and on here, but if you sign Hunter to a restructured deal where you give him more money, he could still end up being on a 1-year deal. So it kind of works out for both parties. I just don't think he'll do that. That's the problem.
Yeah, I think my biggest hesitation is I don't think Danielle Hunter is willing to compromise anymore. He compromised in 2018 by taking an early extension, and again, $40 million up front. Okay, you made that bet, Danielle, and he had assurances that his deals were going to get reworked, and then unfortunately he got injured, and then all right, we'll rework your deal next year. Well, then he gets injured again, and I can't hardly blame him. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I never begrudge a player for trying to maximize the amount of money that they can get, considering the violent sport that they play, and that goes for everybody. And that's not the first time I have said that. So we'll just cut that one off at the pass.
Well, let's fast forward 3 years. Thielen was killing it on like less than $1 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
We signed him for big money, and now we're like, let's get rid of him. He's too much. I mean, we have short memories. Like all those years,
the structure. It was too long of a deal. It was the problem with Thielen's deal was, in hindsight, we all loved it, including myself. I'm not going to sit here and act like I didn't. It was too long of a deal. It was too long of a contract. That's the problem.
Well, and I'm just saying, he was also younger than Danielle when he signed it, right? So it's like, whatever, 3 years from now, what will we be saying about the $24 million cap hit he's about to hit? What will we be thinking of Danielle then? I know we all are on his side right now, but hey, he gets his just deserve, right? But then, hey, now we're talking about our older players losing a step. They're too much money. We're gonna forget it pretty shortly. I think. I don't want to sign him for a long deal.
No.
I love him, man. He's been great. And the people that wanted to get rid of him because he only played 7 games in 2 years. I'm like, dude, these were just crazy injuries. A pec injury.
Yep.
Totally can come back from it. He was playing at a high level. I think he was leading the NFL in he was like, it took till week 17 for someone to pass him up on our team for the most sacks on the team. He had 7 and someone had 8 or 6 or 7, something like that. But I mean, he's still at the top of his game. If we could get him for 3 years, give him I would love to see him help transition this defense. That's where I would want him.
No, I totally agree. And by the way, this was before you and I had started working together, Dave. This time last year when they restructured Danielle Hunter's contract, and it was right after they had also brought in Zadarius Smith, I said, I'm glad that Danielle Hunter is going to be back on this team, but this is going to be a mess next year because I saw right away it's like he's going to have $18 million in dead cap hits, and he's only going to have $5 million worth of salary, which means he's not going to want to play on that deal.
Well, here's where I don't, that whole fight. He's only getting $5 million. No, man, you already got your money and you got it when it was worth more than it is now. So
he still took less though.
But he never made what he should have. Well, if I'm being honest,
but the fact that everybody keeps saying he's only going to be taking in $5 million this year. And you said like earlier, Kirk's only, he's bringing in $10 million this year. I was making a joke. I'm not on the side where it says, hey, he's only bringing in $5 million this year. What a crock. No, man, he got that money earlier, and he's now earning off of that money. That was good for him. He knew this was going to be here. He signed the deal on it. But I agree. He's taking less money for us. It was thank goodness he had a good year to where we still see value in him, that he can earn more money now. But is he top 5 money?
No,
Would you give him top 5
they
money?
should not do that. They should not do
and
that.
that may be what he could get. I don't know.
What's up,
And what I was saying about value wise, if there's a situation where he could work out a trade where he's signing, that is that is probably a better value for getting compensation back.
Right.
But
I agree.
On a draft day, you got to think, well, I'm going to Cleveland, or I'm going to where?
If he was with Myles Garrett, I don't think he'd be complaining too much.
Right. As long as they gave him something. But, I'll bring up Andrew's point. Shout out to Andrew.
I don't know, Louisiana boy going to Cleveland. I don't know. Isn't he from isn't he from Louisiana?
Well, that's where he went to school anyway. I don't know exactly.
I'm not sure. I think he's from Texas.
I actually worked with the person that was walking around campus that recruited him. She worked for the university, and he says he's just the nicest guy. Just the nicest guy.
Would you guys give him the $22 million as Andrew was suggesting, or do you think that's too much?
No.
What number would you give, Mike?
This is talking about a 1-year deal or an extension.
Whatever. I'm saying
on a 1-year deal, 18. If he wants an extension, trade him. Like, we're in a bad spot. It's not that bad, but it's not ideal because teams kind of know he's probably done. To be honest, like I think there's a real scenario where with us. Oh, no. He's going to make his money somewhere else. But I think there's a more realistic chance, and I can't believe I'm saying this. I think there's a better chance he's back than Hunter.
Yeah, they were bringing it up because we actually didn't cut him before he got his bonus, right?
Yep.
So he didn't get a bonus. We want him to stay.
He didn't get a bonus.
Didn't he? I thought he did.
No,
or his money became guaranteed. Was it that?
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right.
Guaranteed. Money became guaranteed, bonus, whatever. I don't know. Roster, it's guaranteed money. It's not a roster bonus, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
but anyways,
his salary became guaranteed. The reason there's the distinction is that if he's traded,
we didn't trade him, we didn't cut him. Mm-hmm. We want to keep him. That's the way you'd have to look at it. You'd think.
Well, they could trade him, right?
Well, they still could trade him, but hey, at that point, we weren't getting anything for him. Right. And I mean, this is a guy who said he wanted to. He said his goodbyes to us, and then we let him stay on the team. Didn't cut him. Mm-hmm. We now are paying him. We paid him now, so it's like, oh shit, we got to keep him, right? That's the way almost you got to feel, unless you can still trade him, right?
Yeah,
there's only two.
Yeah, it's trade. Yeah, it's trade or he stays.
Him.
Yes.
We're not cutting him. That's
no,
for sure.
No, not now. No.
But that doesn't mean they're necessarily going to give him the raise he thinks he wants either.
I don't think so. I think they might just put their feet in the sand, and there's nothing he can really do about it. Like, really, what is he going to do? He's going to hold out. He signed the deal. That's kind of on him. If we're going to talk about, I know it's a little bit off topic, but it's still kind of relevant to the conversation. Allen Robinson, just a year ago, ripped the Rams off. He got traded today for a 7th. Well, good for him. He got his money, and he took advantage of it. It's no different with the new Hunter. The team benefited this time. That's how it works.
Right. As far as Za'Darius goes, he signed a deal that he knew was a 1-year prove-it deal that had a whole bunch of funny money behind it. The problem is that he left himself vulnerable to the fact that if he performed well enough to where now that funny money is a bargain to the Vikings, well, now the Vikings are going to want to keep him. He was hoping that he would show out enough to where the Vikings would end up either trading him or giving him a raise. And right now they're kind of at a standstill. Let's move off of this one. I want to just briefly. Dalvin Cook, is he? He's not playing for. He's gone, right?
Oh, yeah.
Is there any chance he's coming back?
I'll let Dave go first.
The reason I asked that question is that you would think that if he was going to be traded, it would have been done already. So to kind of like what you were saying a moment ago about Za'Darius. So are we just on borrowed time here, waiting for the other shoe to drop on Dalvin Cook, or what's the scoop there from your thoughts, Dave?
Well, I mean, can he still play for us? Yeah, of course. If he doesn't play for us, then he doesn't get paid, right? So it's like the Vikings still hold the leverage, right? And when it comes to that, if we obviously don't want to pay him that much,
Mhm.
right? But if he cut him, will he get that money somewhere else? No, he wouldn't, right? How much did we actually how much is he actually making this year?
His cap hit was it 14?
But how much is he actually making?
I'm getting it.
Oh, I don't know about the salary. I'm never good for that stuff.
His base salary is 10.4.
Yeah,
2 of that is guaranteed. So if the Vikings,
that's $8 million, and if he went into the free open market, he don't make $8 million, right?
I doubt it. Yeah.
So, and this is just voluntary. This is like voluntary things. Now, is GM's not endearing him to the fans?
Or you mean his agent?
But or what did I say?
His GM.
Agent, sorry, his agent.
No, that's what I thought you meant.
Yeah, his agent is not endearing him to the fans. I guess he was on like the Forbes top under 30 or 35. I don't know how old. This guy's not old, but yeah, it's like Jerry Maguire kind of shit going like with Sugarman. He's like Sugarman from Jerry Maguire. He's like, but he made a good point. He's played on one shoulder. That is you're thinking about where you're falling. You're thinking about where you're getting hit with that type. It's subluxation. It could at any point you could be in extreme fucking pain. And,
he's making business decisions, and don't blame him one bit for it. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, he played every game this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's an unconscious thing. It may not be a decision, but hey, they brought up a lot of drop offs that he did, and it was like yards after this and yards after
yards
that.
Are expected. Yeah.
Receiving. I blame that on the offense. We did not utilize him at all in the very much in the passing game, but all those things that I think could be fixed with a healthy shoulder, honestly, that he could be back 2 years ago as far as the way he looked, explosiveness. Now, he did fine. I mean, if you get the 6th best rusher in the league and you're misusing him, holy shit, just imagine if you figured him out. But I'm a huge TJ. I'm a trade Cook guy. I like him. I think he would be fine for this team this year. But I'm a trade Cook guy just because I'm a big Ty Chandler fan. Him and Naylor. I'm big fans of these two guys. I think they're diamonds in the rough where we got them. And it was being like Ty Chandler was in a running back by committee in college until his senior year, and he balled out and he did everything good. So I think he's an all-around back. Now, obviously, Madison's the youngest running back on our team, and he's in his 5th year. That is absolutely crazy that he's the youngest running back on our team, and he's in his 5th year. So hey, we're in a good situation running back. We'd be in a better situation if we could use a draft pick and free up some money by getting rid of Cook. Not that he doesn't. I mean, if the worst thing that happens is that he stays and plays one more year for us, I'm okay with it. But you did ask, would it happen?
Yeah, go ahead, Mike. Yeah.
Well, I'll start out with this just maybe so I can maybe try to get a cheap pop out of Justin. If Dalvin Cook is back, I'm going to throw a tantrum, first of all, because that would make me so upset for multiple different reasons. Phil Mackey made a great point, though, to your point there, Dave, where you said that we had good stats, right? 6 NFL rushing. Yes, if you turn around the card, right, he used the back of the baseball card stats. Yeah, it looks good on paper. But you look at all the deep analytics, it's just not good. And, like, this is just me, maybe. I hate this take where we didn't use him right. Like, when Madison was in there against the Bears, I didn't see a problem.
You hate my take?
He was pounding the rock, and he was abusing the Bears. Cook wasn't. And like, I'm not sitting here and saying Madison's a better player, but I think he's a better player for what he's making compared to what we're paying Cook. And the difference between getting an extra, $7 million if you trade Cook and actually building a better roster, I think it's worth it. And this is the thing. I hate paying running backs past, like, if I was a GM, I'm not even kidding, I would put them in a revolving door. Every 4 years, next guy. Never have to give them a second.
Unless they take a massively under.
I mean, if they're Adrian Peterson, sure, I guess. But like, because you maybe have like no choice at that point. But again, like, I think it is time to move on. To your point there, Dave, like, get a draft pick, move on, give Ty Chandler an opportunity with Madison, see where you go from there.
Well,
Shout out
you
to
brought
the
up
toy
something
box.
here, like you brought up something Alexander Madison. He really pounded the Bears, and Cook didn't. That's what I'm talking about, misusing him. I'm like, he was so much better running on the outside. He was breaking he's breaking long runs when we did sweeps with him, or whatever. But we're running short yardage plays with him and not Madison, and that was killing me
That
to
part
watch that
I
happen.
totally agree with.
And we're running tight end screens and not running back
Yeah,
screens.
that was dumb. Yeah, that was dumb. We couldn't run screens though. We couldn't run any
stupid
screens.
shit we were doing. I'm just saying, the whole season I was like, we're gonna misuse him. Let's misuse a cheaper guy.
Shout out to Toy Box. we got to get this one up here. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I can't. I'm looking for the RS Lynch Mob. I must be in the wrong live stream. Following that with Dylan. Can we ask Dave about the quality of wide receiver behind JJ?
I think we got quality, man.
So Mike can show his incredible athleticism once again.
What do you think about the quality of our receivers?
If you don't know what Dylan means about Mike's incredible athleticism, just go onto my channel and watch the show.
I appreciate it, Dylan. As I said, we have quality receivers. Move on to the next question. I'm good here.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Anthony, shout out to Anthony as well here. I had you pinned, and then we went in about 5 different directions. But he brings up the question of what's your prediction on how many picks total we make by the end of this draft? We're at 5, but I think we need to end up with at least 7 when it's all said and done. What do you guys think? Mike, I'll start with you.
I think it's 7 too. And Justin, though I love the pipe dream. Of course I do. I wish I was like Mario, go right in the pipe, go into having a great, life. You go into the Mushroom Kingdom and you get your quarterback of the future and you're happy forever. That's not reality.
The movie for me? Are you spoiling the movie for me? I haven't seen it yet.
That's a small tidbit, but anyway.
Come on, man.
Anyway, I didn't trust me. There's a lot of things I did about that movie that has nothing to do with that. But the idea of the pipe, I want a quarterback, but that's not going to realistically happen. So I think they will trade down. I've said this for months. They're not going to pick at 23. I almost guarantee it. So that's the case. 7. I think it happens. I do. Because Quincy traded 7 times last year. Like, he's going to have 7 picks. He's going.
Well, we got 5. I'm going higher. It's 8 or more.
It probably could be.
It's 8 or more. And it may not, and it may even be more, more than 8. And we may get picks for next year. That's what I'm thinking. If you trade down in the second round, like you could get quite a bit back. And I'm just like, where we're picking at 23 to 40, I don't think it matters almost too much. And if you got 3 picks, in the anywhere from 32 to 50 or 60 or whatever,
right?
You get 3 or 4 picks in that realm. You're going to come out of this draft pretty good, I think. And I brought up this point, several times. The reason why we're having a better cap issue the next 2 years is because we're losing people. So we only have 5 picks, and I don't want to fill this roster with undrafted free agents. I don't want to do it. So get the guys you want to compete on this team. But yeah, I don't want a freaking team full of undrafted free agents. So I'm thinking he's gonna trade down. He's gonna do a little bit better than he did that first trade last year.
Oh my gosh!
Don't trade for Brad Holmes over again. We got Hawkinson. We don't ever have to trade for Brad Holmes again. Just let it go there. We can go off in the high with Hawkinson and move on.
Yeah, our second round pick is TJ Hawkinson. I'm pretty happy with that.
Yes.
How much he's going to cost us is yet to be determined. Don't know.
But you got to pay him.
Watch Kelsey drop off. TJ Hawkins, the number 1 tight end of the league, and then boom, we're paying him $20 million.
They are going to extend him before, which is good. So if somehow that did happen, Dave, where he is the number 1 tight end, they're going to have a contract done with him before that.
Yes, hopefully they get that done. So what does
and he likes Minnesota, so
yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Think of the depth of content creators behind Mike. All right, Toy Box. That was good.
There's a big drop off after D Shizzy.
Yes.
I don't think we got a number 2 host here.
Yeah, something like that. I know that
Toy Box, you never disappoint, man.
No, Toy Box, you don't. Thanks for joining us in all seriousness. I know that there's been a lot of stuff going back and forth in the chat. I just haven't put them all up there because it's more they're still having some fun with the Kirk O'Chain's conversation here. But why wouldn't we pick an impact player at 23? I'll start with my thoughts, but I definitely want to hear you guys as well. I think that if there is a player like we talked about earlier, if Smith and Jigba was there, which he won't be.
Yeah.
If Anthony Richardson was there, but he won't be.
Even Levis, maybe. Though the guys that are the best left at their position, you can make an argument to take that player. What about Bijan? Let's get right into it. You threw it to me.
No, not Bijan.
You want a running back?
But
no, I don't.
If it's the fourth cornerback, or if it's the fourth or fifth wide receiver, or that, then like what Zoe's got right up afterwards, we need more picks. We only got 5 because one of them is TJ Hawkinson. So I get what you're saying though, Mary. If there's one of those players left that's like, oh wow, like for example, if Joey Porter Jr. is there, run. I take Joey Porter Jr. Mike's shaking his head. All right, Mike, what say you? You go ahead.
I don't want to quote. The only corner I would take it and actually wanted in the first round is Gonzalez out of Oregon. That's it. I want the guy that's consensus basically number 1 throughout the process or very close to it to be the guy that falls. Joey Porter Jr. may have a tremendous career. I'm just so done with first round corners in that 20 range because we've done it so many times and it's failed so many times. Let's do the Patriot thing. We literally have a Patriot guy on the staff. Why not do what the Patriots did best out of like anyone in the last 20 years? Build your defense with 4th and 5th round picks at corner. Like I'm so done with it. That's just me though.
Since we're on corners, this is a guy I'm in love with, and that's Deonte Banks from Maryland. I think him. I think he's a cover corner, and he has great position, and I hadn't seen a guy play like that. He's not he's plenty fine size wise. I don't think he's overly speedy, but the way he mirrors receivers without putting his hands on them is just mind bending to me. And I'm like, if we can get this guy later, I'm fine with it. But if he's my first pick and it's late in the first round or early second, I'm fine with that.
Would you take him at 23?
That's the question on the table.
No, I mean, that's what I'm saying. That the answer, I forget who asked the question. I think it was Mary. Yeah, I take an impact player at 23, but the impact players I was looking at before was like Trenton Simpson, who I don't think is going to be there anymore. And they even got Drew Sanders listed as the number 1 guy. And we were mocking him, taking him in the 3rd round. Earlier a couple months ago, and I'm like, yeah, those are my two guys that I did videos on, and I loved them. And sure enough, NFL.com has them ranked 1 and 2 now. And thanks for listening to me, NFL.com. I appreciate it. That's why I'm number 1 in PFF grade for hosting podcasts. I'm 99.9 PFF grade hosting podcasts. But yeah, my cornerback, I like, value wise, if we get a guy like that, later, I'm cool with it. So that's what I'm saying. If there's an impact guy, great. I mean, even the receiver I was talking about, Johnson. Yeah, I like him there. I would honestly take him there because he's the biggest receiver, and I think he gets open, and I think, like I said, he has long speed, not necessarily burst. But he gets open and he gets it, and he's a guy that can get the 50-50 balls. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm a big hand size guy. I'm gonna bring up his hands. I'm gonna get the hand size. Oh, where are you at? Yeah. I'll bring. Here it is. Here it's coming. It's coming. Quentin Johnson. Your hand size is 9 5/8. So he's okay. He's okay there. 9 5/8. I'll take that. 33 and 5/8 arms, though. Holy shit. This is a receiver, and he's 6'3", 208 pounds. I love him.
Worst case, we move him to press corner, right, guys?
Yes.
No, I'm kidding. But I just want to answer.
Dude. This is a long dude in all the good ways.
I didn't answer Mary's question. So, to your point, Justin, like if one of the two, well, at least for me, Levis or Richardson are there, yeah, you take them at 23. I think you do. After that, like unless there's a crazy Laramie Tunsil like fall, I don't want a guy that, and I'm not saying a tackle, by the way, I'm just giving a prospect that came out of my head that actually fell. That's the only way I'd want to do that.
Who had Hooker to 5 at Seattle? Seattle at 5.
Yeah, that was a mock a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
Who had that?
Yeah, it was on ESPN.
Oh, come on. You're making that up.
No,
you got it.
No,
You gotta
it was
think.
on ESPN.
Oh, my gosh. I'm with you,
You gotta
Sarah.
think
No.
there's a team that likes Hendon Hooker.
Yeah, oh, for sure. It's confirmed. Well, at least
You
rumors.
gotta think.
There's teams that have Hooker ahead of Levis and Richardson. There's multiple teams that have him ahead on their board. So who knows who it is?
Because they're not taking the injury into consideration, and I think that's what would have happened. I honestly think that's probably what would have happened.
He's got a good arm. There's no debate about it.
Well,
he's got a good arm.
When you match up Anthony Richardson, you're talking about you're talking about like 67, 68 completion percentage compared to 53.
Yeah.
You're talking about 3,700 yards to 2,700. You're talking, just all these, in 2 years in a row he did it, right? So it's like, and he only threw 5 picks and all these great things. I'm like, God, this, is he not valued enough? But I know there's teams out there that think he's the shit. And I thought he's athletic, where he's got like 700 yards rushing. He's accurate, and I think he throws off script. And that's the differences I like in him that I didn't like in Kirk Cousins. So
I will say this: you don't have to convince me, Dave, to tell me that Anthony Richardson needs a lot of help at the next level, and that he will need to grow from where he is right now. That's my big.
I mean, I have faith in him. I feel like if he stayed in college,
he should have. I think he should have.
Well, no, I wouldn't tell him to stay if he's going to be in a top 5 pick.
We don't know though, I've seen there were multiple teams that don't have a first round grade. It's going to be so interesting with him. I think he will go extremely high, but if he doesn't, he might regret. Not saying it's full for another year.
If he goes in the first round, it's a success for him, I think. If he left early,
but if he has like a Jamarcus Russell like run, like that could be a failure in a different where he goes high, but he gets put in the wrongs. How many times have we talked about this, Justin?
Well,
I know I've said this to you. I'm just saying. Jamarcus Russell had other issues, but I'm just saying the idea if he goes to the wrong system, right? A lot of people have said that Richard needs to go to the right place. If he goes to Houston, I don't love that fit for the kid. I don't.
I don't know their offense. Who's their offense?
It's really, really poor receiver aside from Mitchie, and I think they signed Robert Woods. I think that's it. Right. That's their 2 receivers. And again, Mitchie had a horrible year last year thanks to unfortunate circumstances, right, with what he had to go through with leukemia. So he didn't even play. The poor kid. Prayers to him. So I hope he comes back and wins comeback player of the year. I really do.
You don't want a guy to go in a bad situation, much like David Carr did, right?
Yep.
So it's like,
but
if he gets drafted, in the first round, it's a success because you're basically gambled. You gambled and you showed out in the combine. So you're going to go in the first round. I don't see why he wouldn't go in the first round.
Oh, he will for sure. First round. Yeah. No doubt.
Well,
no doubt.
I mean, he's an exceptional athlete, and there's going to be a guy that says, I can make this guy a star. And I think we all kind of see maybe even more athletic Dante Culpepper, but with big hands. But Dante Culpepper set a record for completion percentage in college NCAA history. This guy is not breaking any records there, so that's where the difference is.
I think Davey Chains and Dave also co-signs on it is we might need some therapy after this draft.
Oh, for sure.
I know.
Isn't what these are for, though, Justin?
Yes.
Isn't that exactly what they're for?
That's what it is. Anthony's got another great point. I know we brought back Gabber. We really hope somebody we can find in the mid-way rounds and take his center to take his place. Somebody here has been saying that for how many weeks, Mike?
Yes. Oh, we both been saying absolutely. If you find a way, yes, find a way to get a center, please, for the love of God, please.
Did we bring back our backup?
Schwab, yeah, they did. But he could play guard too. To be
Mike,
fair.
I am really mad I didn't print out that last second draft we did because aside from getting Bryce Young and getting Overshown, we also got John Michael Schmitz too. And
so I don't see us because of our situation. We have backup and third string, center right now. I don't see us. I don't see us taking a center.
Oh, no, I don't either. It's a prayer. The one thing I will say, I guarantee Schlotman has no guaranteed money on his deal. He is expendable.
Well, it's just because there's so few picks that we had, and then we have the holes that we have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why I wish we didn't pay Bradbury. Personally,
that's what I'm saying. Like next year, we would have more flexibility to take a center. Because I believe we'll have more picks. We have the second. We can trade down. We can accumulate more picks. But that's who knows what happens next year. It all depends on what we draft quarterback wise.
That's a good one, Sam. We're going to take a kicker at 23. Yeah.
Seabass, Sebastian Janikowski. That's a throwback. I like that. Yeah, I do want to throw this out here.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And this is more for joking around. For the love of God, I want a center that when he plays against Dexter Lawrence doesn't look at him and say, "You're hugging me more than my girlfriend." Like that stuff made me cringe. My God, like how pathetic. Anyway.
No, you're absolutely
right.
He had
a bad game.
He had a lot of That's the problem with Garrett Bradbury. He was either if the Vikings were going up against a team with a bad defensive line or even a mediocre defensive line, they could find a way to survive. But then you put them up against guys like, and I'm not talking about just last year, but Lawrence you talked about, the games against Hakeem Hicks where Hakeem Hicks just destroyed us every single time. Kenny Clark from Green Bay. The problem is that he could survive against bad to middle of the road defensive tackles, but he wouldn't just have bad games against good D tackles. He would get his lunch eaten. And that's why I get it. They didn't sign him for all that much money, so I guess, but I'm still kind of whatever about bringing him back. But it's basically 1 year prove it deal, and they can get rid of him after next year if they want to without a whole lot of cap consequence.
And one thing that I just can't believe the analytics guy didn't look at and say we need to move on. He's still ranked in the top 5 for pressures allowed by centers. Like, I just didn't understand that one. We were so close, guys. We were so close.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
There was one more I thought I had on here. Hold on just a second. You want to touch briefly on Joe Juwan Williams? Anything, Dave? I didn't get your take on him. I know last night, but what are your thoughts?
He's a good size, right?
6'3". Yep.
I was looking at his tape in Vanderbilt. He looked like a man among boys. I think I don't know much about him in the pros though. I like to go back and look at what I thought of him coming out of college, and I'll be like that. Where was he drafted?
Second round. The Patriots traded up 11 picks to get him. That says a lot for Belichick because he does not trade up.
That says a lot about him, man. It says a lot about him. I think physically, holy crap, that's the kind of guy we want, right? I want physical corners. I want guys bumping people off the line, and I think that's what we have. And now we just added on to it, and I feel better picking up a guy like that. And we didn't bring Shelley back for a reason.
Yep. It was height. I truly believe it was height. I generally they did not trust him at that height to play on the outside, not in the Flores system. Yes.
Yeah, and what would he look like for a full season? Game plan, things like that against him. He would get picked on. But hey, I like the fact I liked him. I think it's a great pick.
For sure.
And what are we paying him?
It hasn't came out yet, but I'm just guessing based off that he barely played for New England. He was injured last year. It's got to be Fedman or close to.
This is the kind of shit that Kwesi is becoming a master at. Is
Tonga
these
last
guys,
year,
right?
Yeah.
Like he found Shelley. He found
Tonga.
That's what I'll bring up. Tonga. He got Evans late, and that was his guy. He slept. He said that's the guy that just kept me up at night. And I'm like, so he finding these guys, and honestly, and I'll throw Ty Chandler and Naylor out there. Holy shit,
I like those two.
Some of these late fucking picks that he's doing, man, are fabulous, and these free agents he's putting together and rolling the dice on Davenport after a down year.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, he looked at other things. He didn't fill the baseball card up like you said. But he did the pressures. He just didn't get the ribbon on it, right? So he's just putting a team together and I'm impressed because I didn't think we were going to do shit this offseason. I thought I would be having to hear Justin complaining how bad Quasey was the whole time, and me going, give him a chance. And,
well, I think Justin would prefer we had.
And the whole time inside, I'd be going, I agree with you.
Yeah, funny.
I don't want to speak for Justin, but I actually think he would have preferred if we just traded everyone. No? At least, like, to an extent, not everyone, but Kirk, at least I think so, no? Or am I wrong?
Definitely last year, yes. This year, there was a time where, yes, I would have wanted them to, but then I see the intrinsic value of if you're going to draft a quarterback, to have that quarterback sit and learn for 1 year. Now, I'll say it again. If somehow, some way, there, just like with Danielle Hunter, if some team, that Kirk would agree to go to, just knocked your socks off with a deal of incredible value draft capital wise, like, San Francisco says, hey, we'll give you 2 third-round picks next year and a conditional second that could be a first next year. Yeah, I'm doing that deal because I'm not passing up on that value, because if you don't re-sign Kirk after this season and he walks, you don't get any draft compensation for the compensatory, because you don't get compensatory picks for players with void years. So, I mean, at this particular point, the ship's kind of sailed about trading everybody, but I would have given serious credence to it at the time. But I think the time had passed. I think the time to do it was last year. The time to do it was last year. You could have got something for Thielen. You could have got something for Kendricks.
Well, the whole idea, I still keep hearing about, let's trade Kirk Cousins. I'm like, anything this offseason make you feel like we have any intention of trading Kirk Cousins?
Quessy would. I think Quessy would.
No.
I honest to God, like, I'm not even trying to be funny. Quessy would. KOC, on the other hand, not so much. But I know for a fact, based on the way Quessy's talked about him, other than saying he's the median quarterback, he would do it if he got the right offer. He would. That's why he was willing to take on the void year money, because he wanted to say, prove it. And then if you go, okay, just leave. Like, I generally think Quessy would. I do want to throw one last thing out here about the cornerbacks.
Yeah,
and this is maybe a hot take. I don't know. I'll be really, really fast. I actually wouldn't hate if they didn't draft a corner and then just sign Rock Ya-Sin. I know it's a 1 year move, but I would do that. I generally would.
That for 3 weeks. Get Rock Ya-Sin, and that was before they signed the guy from.
But why not both? Why not just actually get a room full of veterans?
It goes back to what we said yesterday. I think that because he hasn't been picked up by anybody, nobody's knocking at his door. So he's going to be available after the draft. And once you make your moves with Hunter, Smith, and or Cook, and you free up, and then maybe you have to do the restructure of Brian O'Neill to get money for your draft picks, I think that's what they're waiting to do. If they don't get a cornerback in this year's draft, or if they only got one in the later rounds, I'm not disappointed by that, because you can fill out your roster with free agents, I do think.
And I'd rather spend the draft capital on a receiver, on a defensive lineman, on a line. Honestly,
there you go, Zone. If you're still here, there you go.
I'm just so done with taking corners high. It just hasn't worked. It just hasn't for us. Even Trey Waynes was okay, but that's it.
I mean, I'm all about bringing in a linebacker, a receiver, in any lineman, just any lineman.
Yes,
but if I could get a nose tackle, a guard, that because we're all obviously not sold on Cleveland, right?
Yeah.
And we still are willing to give. And I'm probably higher on Ed than the rest.
I'm high on Ed. Justin knows this. I got in this argument several times with Justin.
High on him, but I don't think other people I'm on shows with are too high on him.
Me and you actually have a lot in common, Dave. I like Jalen Naylor, I like Chandler, and I like Ed Ingram. I like the class. They deserve more credit. They just got injured.
Stop flirting with me, Michael. Stop flirting with me.
Why don't you two get a room here? I'm gonna go. Anyway. Well, we're gonna wrap this up here, because I got to go eat before I pass out, and I'm going to swing over to our compatriot here in a little bit. But, Mike, first and foremost, thanks for joining us. We'll have to do this a little
more often, man.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I thought you were like taking sides or something.
No, I thought it was the other way around. To be honest, I didn't want to.
No, we don't care, dude.
I thought it was Canada coming down to burn the DC again. Back in the...
I trust me. If we still had Ed Donato, I would have no problem doing that. But he's gone, so I moved on.
We can all agree on that. Ding dong, the Donna Shell is dead. So there you go. Dave, final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm like the pickup with the cornerback, what we've done this offseason, how many 16, 17 free agents?
Mhm.
I love our tight end that we picked up.
Josh
He's
Oliver.
a pass catcher. He's a
Yeah.
pass catcher, man.
He is.
He was playing for a guy that runs the ball.
Yep.
So the fact that this guy didn't get any balls thrown to him is not, I don't think, anything to do with him, because he's a good player and he can block. Our running game is going to be better. We're going to be able to mix it up. We're going to not be as predictable. We may not get more rushing yards, but I think we're just going to be more effective. I think everything about what we've done is fit what I wanted to happen. What I hoped would happen. Now it's just about getting me another weapon, let's say on offense in this draft, getting me a future guard to replace a Cleveland that I don't think necessarily deserves a second contract with us. As far as, higher level, I think we could get if we have to, we have to, but that guy should be playing left tackle somewhere or right tackle somewhere. He should not be playing guard.
Money.
We're doing him a disservice, and he's going to make less money in his career because of it. But in the defense, the things we've done with defense has given me hope. I see the vision there. And I just think if we could get one of those guys, that, can come off the edge or an off ball linebacker that's more athletic. I did like the guy that we picked up from the Rams. He is athletic.
Troy Reader.
I like him as a backup or even a spot starter. He does that athleticism. He's a fast guy. He was good.
Small. He's a good player.
He's long. Yeah. He's long.
Yes.
So I'm happy. I like where we're at going into this draft, where we can take the best player available, and I'm on the side of trading down to accumulate more picks just because we are losing players, man. And I think the way I'm happy looking back at that draft, even though I wish I got more out of that trade. I'm happy with the guys we got. Honestly, I'm happy with every one of them. Even the tight end that hasn't got a chance yet, but who knows? Nick Muse from South Carolina. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with what's going on, man.
Okay, I want to throw one last thing on here, just really, really fast on Ezra Cleveland. It wouldn't shock me mildly if the Vikings traded him in the draft. Like, I know that's a little out there.
I agree.
Because
I wouldn't be shocked.
Hear me out for a second. If there's a team that doesn't get a tackle, he can play tackle, and he can play tackle damn well. He got screwed over. For some reason, they decided to play Rashad Hill instead his rookie season when they should have just played him to begin with. Had they done that, he'd be a really solid left tackle. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if a team trades for Ezra in the draft for a third. Like, I could see it happening.
You know what? On what you're saying here, and I am not sorry I interrupted you. Think about this. What if Brian O'Neill doesn't come back?
Well, there's that.
We would have our right tackle, wouldn't we?
No, there's something to be said there.
Whoa, that's a hot take. That is a hot take.
Way to end the show with a dun dun dun.
What if O'Neill's not back and we have Ezra Cleveland, who is he's a tackle?
Yeah. There's something to be said there. Want to thank everybody who joined us here tonight. Bob, Skull Mafia, Sarah, Andrew, Davey Chains, Dave, Worthless Opinion, Raymond, Mary, Toy Box, Dan, Doctor, to name a few. If I didn't say it, ain't that at all. Anthony, Andrews, I got to remember that. Those should be easy enough to remember. They're pretty close. But in all seriousness, hit the like buttons. If you don't already subscribe to Purple and Gopher Days or Minnesota Sports Talk, hit them subscribe buttons. Keep it tuned to the channels. As we all know, doing a live super show on next Thursday night for round 1 of the draft.
And then Friday night, me and Johnny are doing Skull World live draft. So on Thursday,
I was going to pimp that for him, but he won't let me sometimes. But in all seriousness, yes.
You didn't know, did you?
Yeah, you mentioned
for sure. I just mentioned it. Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, you did. That's all right. That's all right.
Sorry to steal your thunder. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's your thunder. I was trying to give you thunder. Anyway, Mike, thank you so much for joining us. Put your Twitter. Your Twitter handle is just at Mike Castellino.
Yeah.
There's no numbers in there. I don't even know.
No, just at Mike Castellino.
All right, at Mike Castellino. He is the king of Vikings Twitter Spaces. You do that, 2-3 times a week, at least during the season?
Yes. It's probably more than that, if I'm being honest. It's an obsession.
Well, thanks, everybody, for joining us.
Do it once.
Say what?
I went into it.
Yeah, he
once
did.
before I
We
even
got to
listened.
talk though next time, Dave. You got to
Yeah.
actually.
I did once, but I talked and everybody was like crickets. So I was like, well, I don't know. I heard Spinoza was in there.
Oh well,
well,
Is he still?
he no, but that's a story for another day.
yeah,
All right.
That's a whole nother one we go on to. Well,
Next
thanks everybody.
next show we're gonna all share earbuds and
Yes.
all right. Actually, you did that too with
I wasn't gonna say it.
Rick.
I'm trying, Mike. I was trying to get out of here. I was trying, man.
You did that too with
I'm
Rick.
getting
I remember
cooked.
you
I'm
shared
getting cooked.
earbuds with Rick.
Yes. Before the Buffalo game, if I recall correctly.
That was hilarious. I wasn't. I wouldn't have said it if I didn't remember that you actually did that.
You got a great memory. I can't lie, Dave. Hey, I gotta eat it. Hey,
shared earbuds.
For more entertaining,
Go ahead.
For more riveting entertainment, I'm pretty sure Rap has gone live at this point. So check out Purple Pocket Podcast as well as GG Sports, Purple and Scold Media, Purple and Gopher Days, and Minnesota Sports Talk, the Purple and Scold Media family. Again, we're going to be live on draft night. Dave's going to be doing something else on Friday as well. Thanks everybody for joining us. Just want to see the Vikings win a Super Bowl once, just one time before we die. No matter how much we argue with each other, we all have the same common goal. Appreciate everybody for joining. Have a great rest of your evening. Skol Vikes.
Skol.